Welcome to Black Mirror of Art. This is a study of the threes in the Minor Arcana, such as the Three of Wands, the Three of Swords, the Three of Cups, and the Three of Pentacles. I've seen several posts in Facebook tarot groups, people puzzled about the meaning of the various three cards, in specific Three of Wands and Three of Swords. So, since we're dealing with threes, let's start with what we know. Three consists of 1 plus 2 to create 3. 1 in occult thought is a point or a singularity, the place from which everything is generated and everything returns in a cycle of creation and dissolution. The extent of how far out this process of creation goes is marked then by the number 2. This beginning point and turning point, where it extends outward as far as it can go and then returns back to the source, establishes a kind of polarity. This is for example, this is the ultimate positive, and this is the ultimate negative. So the excess of positive is radiated outwards until it loses force, becomes negative, and then returns back to the source. So in the process of radiating outwards, finding its limits, and then returning back, its limits or its end, so to speak, we have a process, therefore, of regulation, where this comes down to a certain point and becomes recognizable to us. We are able to perceive it. This perception extends from beginning to the end, or the life cycle, the natural cycle of whatever it is that is manifested, to the point of where it ends or reaches the limits of our perception. And so we have 1 as the source, 2 as wisdom, and 3 as understanding. Because what we're looking at is a tarot card is not just a number. It's a function. It's representing a function or a process. And this function or process serves a purpose. And here we are looking at manifestation and the return to the source. This process can actually go both ways. It can go this way and this way at the same time. So we're looking at 3 representing a regulation of this process, or as it's also called, alternation. For example, in the Kabbalion, the measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. So 2 and 3, wisdom and understanding, represent the limits of our human perception. And so 3 is the understanding based upon what we learn or what we know. So we're here in Black Mirror of Art. We are exploring the threes of the Minor Arcana in response to questions about what exactly the 3 cards, like Three of Wands and Three of Swords, can mean. So we've established previously, if I may, about a cycle of alternation taking place, representing the limits of our perception. But as we continue to read the tarot, as we continue to develop our sensibilities and our appreciation of the tarot and what the forces it represents, we actually can extend or increase our perception closer to the source. Here. So, in effect, we can perceive things before they occur, and we can perceive what happens to things after they occur. in a sense, we can then take these and extend them outwards like so to create a sort of supersensory realm or a magical realm where the 1, the 2, and the 3 are then further supported by the 4 and the 5. A common maxim, well, let me back up a little bit. My background in the tarot is primarily Hermetic, and in Hermeticism is the maxim as above, so below. But the below here is missing. So if we extend or unfold this above to the below, because that's also the counterpoint to that, as above, so below, the below is a reflection of what is above, and what is above is a reflection of what is below, also known as the reflexive universe. So once we take that into account, we come up with a figure here, which is essentially the hexagram, which consists of 2 interlocking triangles. So we have 1, 2, 3, and we have 1, 2, 3 in effect. If we extend the sensory pentagram to the universal hexagram here, we have 1, 2, 3, the first triangle, 4, 5, and 6, the second triangle. Looking at as above, so below, in effect, we are unfolding. We're taking this upper and unfolding it to show what is below. This then creates the concept of these interpenetrating forces, these combined forces, not only above and below, but also within and without. I've said before in other videos, worlds within and worlds without. So then we have essentially a hexagram or 2 triangles of 3. We have a upper cosmos, the upper realm, which is what we are seeking or ascending to. And we also have our personal cosmos here, the manifested realm, which we are always using, always taking advantage of. And so what this indicates with the 3 cards, there may be limits to our perceptions, but we can perceive a lot. Let's look at how the Minor Arcana can show us how to apply this to apply basically what we learned from the minors to the majors. We've already established the idea of polarity, 1 and 2. And we've already established the idea that for what is below, there is the above. There is something above it. So we have 1 as a root or a source, and yet there is something even beyond that source, something that we are not able to perceive. We could, for example, refer to it in the Major Arcana as the Fool, the template in effect for all the other Major Arcana. But since the Fool is an archetype, something that is beyond our perception, quite frankly, we can know intellectually that it's there. But for something that we can actually perceive and experience, that's another breed of cat altogether and beyond the scope of this video. So instead, we can work with something more readily perceptible, the magician. Because the magician, the fool, is able to work miracles on the basis of his innocence, his complete faith. The magician is able to work miracles because of what he knows and what he understands. So we place him there as the source, because indeed we are learning to make use of everything that the tarot represents, and so make proper use of it like the magician. So we can then apply the majors in turn to this concept of the triad, where we have creation, manifestation, dissolution, and return back to the source. here, if we substitute the majors for the minors, we have the magician, the high priestess, and the empress. And because all of them are powered, in effect, by the Fool, or by what the Fool represents, we have the Fool here in the middle, acting as the source or empowerment of all the major arcana. So, if we're working with the idea of as above, so below, worlds within and worlds without, we wind up here with, again, the Fool in the middle to represent the eternal source of everything that we're working with. We have the magician, the high priestess, the empress, and then the emperor, who is the below of the above. And indeed, we can see once more the lightning pattern, the path of lightning, or if we take it the other way, the path of the serpent from the beginning to the top. So what this is showing us is that the emperor here cannot exist without the empress, without this understanding. So our understanding then shapes and informs our world.